Well, if you were wondering why my face is wet, it is because of the constant spit that Warner Brothers exudes onto the loyal DC fans. This is not going to be a fun video. This is not a video I want to make. I'm so flustered and so angry that I almost can't even get my thoughts straight. So I had to write them down, or else I'd just be rambling. So before I get into everything I want to say, I'm going to read you a tweet here, and then I'm going to fire off all my thoughts. So this is a tweet from Grace Randolph, who is in the film industry. She's behind the scenes, usually knows rumors and leaks when it comes to Marvel and DC and Star Wars and stuff. So this is a tweet from 2 days ago, January 1st. This is where she gives us a new update on the Flash film. The Flash will be Batfleck's final appearance. Old footage of Cavill used on TV. New Justice League is formed. Supergirl is the new Superman. Keaton is working with Black Canary. Picks up Batgirl as a new Batman. This is the new DC. Let's be open-minded and give it a fair shot. Respectfully, no thank you. I got tons of reasons why I don't want to, so let me get into my reasons. For people who don't understand why this might make a lot of DC fans mad, this is very, very depressing news. Because DC struggles with a fandom. Nothing in DC right now has a fan base other than the Snyderverse. That is the only fan base DC currently has right now when it comes to its films. First of all, I'm going to say right now, Supergirl is the new Superman, Batgirl is the new Batman. I have no issues with these characters. I really like Batgirl and I really like Supergirl, but there's a reason why their name isn't Batman and Superman. It's because they're not them. The issue is not them replacing Batman and Superman. The issue is with how they're being introduced. The issue with Warner Brothers continues to be that they are being run by a group of people who do not understand the IP that is DC Comics. So you expect me to sit here and agree to the fact that the DCEU's new continuity is going to be Supergirl as Superman and Batgirl as Batman. How do you expect me to accept this when I have not seen any footage of them at all? I don't know how their projects are going to do. I don't know how they are going to do in the role. And you haven't even released anything official yet. No official movie or piece of entertainment has been officially released, and your plan is to already make Supergirl the new Superman and Batgirl the new Batman. If they had a solid grounding underneath their feet, if they had a solid base of a story that they've been following for years, and maybe they hit a time in their movies where let's rest Batman and Superman for a little while, that could follow a story where Batgirl and Supergirl do take over confidently. We don't even have a solid story to follow that allows the retirement of Batman and Superman. We haven't seen enough of them. There is no DC without Bruce Wayne's Batman and Clark Kent's Superman. So the fact that they're moving in this direction is ridiculous to begin with. So now you lose Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill's Superman. So we all knew that Ben Affleck was done. He even made a comment a couple weeks ago saying he's done with these big IP brands. So he wanted to move on. That's finished. It is what it is. The one that is absolutely mind-blowing to me is Henry Cavill. And for many, many reasons, because Henry Cavill is very outspoken with the fact that he wants to continue to be Superman. He's made a comment very recently that he still has the suit and he's just waiting for the call. I don't know if maybe the phone lines are down in Warner Brothers. I don't know if some of their higher ups are completely deaf and blind, because there is no one who can play Superman the way Henry Cavill can. I believe Henry Cavill is one of the greatest superhero castings of all time. And I know recently in some of my videos I've actually made that comment, so maybe it feels like a throwaway line, but I do honestly believe it. I think some of the most brilliant superhero castings belong to actors like Heath Ledger's Joker, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and Henry Cavill's Superman. And yes, there is an argument for Christopher Reeve's Superman, because I also think he is a GOAT in his own right. But I think with Christopher Reeve, is he was the perfect Superman for that time. Right now, no one can play Superman the way Henry Cavill can. I don't care what Superman projects they currently have on the go or in pre-production right now, no one is going to be as good of a Superman the way Henry Cavill is. And why they continue to ignore this man's plea to be Superman is so... oh my god, it makes me so angry. Moving on. So now this will apparently erase the Snyderverse. I have been seeing so many tweets around the confusion going on right now of whether this will debunk the Snyderverse or what the hell is going on. And I saw earlier today someone DM'd Ezra Miller and asked him if this is actually true. And Ezra Miller said that no, that's not true. The Snyderverse will never be canceled or erased. Then I've been reading other tweets that even though that is partially true, the Snyderverse will be a world on its own that will essentially be ignored, which is what Warner Brothers has been trying to do for the past couple of years anyways. They've been trying to ignore the prestige surrounding the Snyderverse. So the Snyderverse is by far the biggest movie of 2021. It's the most hashtagged film of all time. There is a huge defending of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and for years we've wanted it, and we finally got it because Warner Brothers just couldn't take it anymore. They knew they were losing that battle, and the fans for once won. But my question is how does Warner Brothers continue to get away with the mistreatment of a loyal fan base? Because like I said at the beginning of the video, there is no fan base for any other DC property right now when it comes to films. And if there is a fan base, it's not big, because DC right now is a confusing mess of films. At least with the Snyderverse, you have a huge gang of supporters for these movies and these worlds. And at least with the Snyderverse, you had a world that was currently being built. Zack Snyder had a vision. Whether or not you liked it, the vision was there and it was moving forward. They are the type of studio who is sitting here and being quiet and ignorant to the Snyderverse and the numbers that the Zack Snyder Justice League pulled in and the amount of interest people have in this. The Zack Snyder Justice League was even pulling in people who were not fans of DC because of how bad some of their content has been over the past couple of years, and they were drawing those people back in because they were interested again. Warner Brothers is ignoring the Snyderverse with how successful that content has been and how successful it could be moving on into the future, and they are green lighting projects that are garbage. The Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey film, they literally needed to change the name of that movie while the movie was released in theaters because it was tanking. No one cared. And even with Harley Quinn's name on the front page of that movie, no one cared. And what do? They continue the future of those characters from that movie. The Suicide Squad bombed. And whose fault is that? Their fault. They decided to call the movie The Suicide Squad, which shares the same name as the Suicide Squad from 2016 that was shit. And why was it shit? Because Warner Brothers, once again, toying with too many things and story ideas that they just don't understand anything about. But what do they do with this brand new Suicide Squad movie? They greenlight a project for Peacemaker. Suicide Squad made no money. Peacemaker is not a pivotal or important character to the DC universe. They greenlit a Peacemaker film before Suicide Squad even hit theaters. They didn't know how Suicide Squad was going to do and if it was going to be bad, yet they still greenlit it. The Batman movie with Robert Pattinson by Matt Reeves. I am so excited for this film, and I'm really hoping it is as good as I believe it can be. This movie has not even been released yet. We don't know if it's going to be good, and they're out here green lighting a sequel for that movie before the first one has been dropped. They're out here green lighting a GCPD HBO Max TV show for that goddamn movie, and that movie has not been released yet. And you want to sit here, ignore the success that the Snyderverse has given them, and not greenlight future projects for those movies? They clearly don't like money, and they clearly hate their fans. This is the same company who wanted to embrace the multiverse. They loved the idea of knowing there's a DCEU. There's a Batman trilogy with Robert Pattinson. There's the CW world. There's Titans and Doom Patrol. There's the animated world. There's the video games. There's the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. There's the Snyderverse. And all of these worlds are different dimensions. This is the studio who wanted their fans to have so many different corners and avenues of entertainment and content from DC. So if you like CW, go watch the millions of seasons of shows they have there. If you like the Snyderverse, look at all the content you have and could possibly get. If you like the DCEU, there's stuff going on there too. But now, all of a sudden, they don't want to embrace the multiverse anymore. Now they want to pick and choose what they want fans to like. And this is what they are doing. They are segregating their fans. You cannot truly have a multiverse when you pick and choose what you want to focus on. If you have a multiverse of content, you should be allowing the doors to be open for all these content creators to make their own vision. And they are simply trying to shut the door on the Snyderverse or any other piece of content we may enjoy from those worlds. Because I can tell you now, moving on to the future, Aquaman will not be the same, and neither will Wonder Woman. How is it fair to the people who are fans of a specific topic or product within this multiverse, and you essentially tell your fans, nope, I don't care if you're a fan. You can't be a fan of this anymore because we're not going to make any more of it. And if you are a fan of the Snyderverse, we're going to give you one of these. And you can't have a multiverse of content when you praise the content that is shitting the bed, but you spit on the content that is actually doing good and draws people in. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. I keep every now and then looking down at this ridiculous information about the new Justice League, Supergirl, Batgirl, and every time I read it, it looks like a really shitty rumor or leak that some random on the internet in 2012 posted onto a forum or Twitter that would never see the light of day. It just looks like such a ridiculous idea, and it really shows to me that Warner Brothers has no idea what they are doing. They are trying so hard to hit the nostalgia and the feeling that you got with Spider-Man No Way Home, and simply what Kevin Feige is doing with Marvel in the multiverse as of right now. But they're not doing it properly because, like I said, they are picking and choosing. This is a multiverse of multiple possibilities. There is no pick and choose. You do everything. What Marvel is doing is right. People did not like the Andrew Garfield films. I didn't love them. I didn't hate them. I thought they were all right. Number 1 is good. Number 2, not so good. But what's the one thing that is fantastic? Andrew Garfield. He is a fantastic Spider-Man. Kevin Feige is not sitting here saying, You know what? The Amazing Spider-Man movies were terrible and I don't like them, so we are just going to completely throw that in the garbage. No, he knows there were good aspects about it, and he's bringing those aspects back to the fans that even the fans knew was good about it. You should see some of the rumors right now for the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and the people who will be returning for those movies. We got the guy who played Mr. Fantastic in those terrible Fantastic Four movies in the early 2000s. Yeah, those movies were awful. Some of the worst superhero films I've ever seen. But what was good about it? The actors. They were great. They were casted good. And that leads back to what I was just saying about Batgirl and Supergirl. Yeah, Sasha Calle as Supergirl will probably be good. I got faith in her. And I think Leslie Grace as Batgirl, yeah, I like it. Could be good. But you are basing your future off of two people playing two characters. And we don't know how their movies are going to look. We don't know how they are actually going to act. We don't know the fan reception, and you're still going with it, which just shows to me they don't give a shit what anyone thinks. And look, if anyone still does not understand why this is making a lot of DC fans angry, and because I see this a lot, and it's a narrative that I've never understood and I think is ridiculous. But if your thought is still, oh, you Snyder fans are all the same. You never let anything go. Damn right I'm not gonna let anything go. You had a good world that was being developed, and because the higher-ups in Warner Brothers couldn't wrap their little minds around it, they got rid of it. But take all of that out, okay, in general, just take out the whole Snyderverse excuse that people like to use a lot of the time. I think what is making DC fans such as myself very, very upset and angry right now is the lack of communication from Warner Brothers and the terrible culture they have within that company. Warner Brothers is old. It needs to liven up a little bit. They need new people. I really don't know if the Discovery merger is going to change any of that coming in the near future. I don't know if that will really fix things. But all I know is that Warner Brothers needs to change, and it needs to change drastically, because they are going to lose so many people and so much viewership. I've said for a long time that Warner Brothers is a terrible company. Lucasfilm and Warner Brothers were two major film productions and studios that were fighting to be the worst studio in Hollywood. And right now, Lucasfilm is picking it up. And I think the future for Star Wars and Lucasfilm is bright. But for Warner Brothers, they are successfully one of the worst, if not the worst, studio in Hollywood and all of film production right now. They are absolutely brain dead. And it is so unfortunate to say something like that, because they have been the studio behind some of my favorite movies of all time. And some of my favorite movies are the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, Middle-earth Saga, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit. And those all came from Warner Brothers. But that does not excuse how disgusting this company is now. They constantly want to change things. They move their narratives around to favor one thing over another. They ignore and disrespect loyal fan bases. They have no knowledge of what a future in DC content will actually look like. They pry their disgusting, grimy, buttery fingers in everything, even when they know they should simply keep out of it and let creative minds handle their own projects. And they have an awfully old-styled way of thinking that unfortunately does not work in this new world. Moving forward, I really hope the Batman does well. And not just because I am a Batman fan It's because Matt Reeves looks like he poured a lot of his heart out into this film. It looks like he had true creative control, and it also looks as if he has fought for every decision he has made for this Batman film. And I can't see anything with Batman not being successful, but in general, I hope it's overly successful. I hope it breaks maybe some records that you wouldn't think with a broken down Warner Brothers and DC, but I hope it does well. But I've been seeing a lot of people saying this to start boycotting Warner Brothers and DC content. I don't know if it'll ever go to that extent, even though there is good reason it should. I don't want this to happen for the people who have worked on these projects. I don't want the movies to bomb to spite them, because they all put in a lot of hard work. But I'm not gonna lie, a piece of me wants all these DCEU films to maybe not do as hot as Warner Brothers expects them to do, because this is all just getting out of hand. It really, really is. I made a video recently about Michael Keaton coming back as Bruce Wayne, Batman, and I am dead set on the fact that I don't think it's a good idea. What they are doing moving forward is not going to work, and it will not make them the money they think it will. When you have a competitor in Marvel who is blowing up the box office and frankly blowing people's minds with every decision they make, you cannot make these strands of DC movies that apparently take place all in one universe and expect people to enjoy DC more than Marvel when they themselves don't even know the direction they want to go. And understand that even with the DCEU, even though it's not moving towards the Snyderverse right now, or probably ever, I'm not saying I would never give the DCEU a chance. It's just a matter of the decisions they are making and the ignorance they seem to have towards their fans and some of these actors. There aren't just a lot of Snyderverse fans, there are a lot of fans for these actors. A lot of people love Ben Affleck, a lot of people love Henry Cavill, and you are stripping that away for your own selfish gains that I don't even think you guys understand what you're doing it for. You're just doing it to spite people. And I'll just say really quickly right now that DC needs a fan. They need a fan to take control of the DC universe, the way Marvel has Kevin Feige, because at heart, Kevin Feige is not a filmmaker. He is a fan and a lover of the Marvel universe. Frankly, Kevin Feige loves Marvel, he loves DC, and he loves Star Wars. He grew up loving those worlds. At heart, he is just as much of a fan as we are when we sit in the theater and watch these movies. That is what DC needs. They need a fan who truly understands the world of DC, what these characters mean to us, the beauty of starting a story from the beginning and blossoming an entire world. Warner Brothers simply just needs a complete overhaul in the film department for DC content and frankly TV shows as well, and an overhaul of the people who run this terrible studio. Okay, that's it for my rant. There's so much more I could continue to say, but this video is already dragging. I don't want it to drag any longer, and it's just really making me mad. I need to take a shot or something to calm me down or whatever. I am mixed with so many emotions because as a fan, this is depressing and disgusting and unfortunate, and the list could go on. It's just, Look, at the end of the day, maybe what they're creating in the DCEU, maybe there's a way it could somewhat impress me and other people, but we should never have even gone down this road in the first place. We should not have ever had to worry about something like this happening. But anyways, everyone, that is it for this video. I will talk to you all very soon, and Warner Brothers, you suck.